December 2nd, 10:22 a.m. Okay, start from the bottom. If you've been a long time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut or buried under the wrong names and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care, and this absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased's wishes as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraud directive: enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols if sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources. Enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters into a world of issues since bodies can be so different, and because of ingrained bias, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased gender's identity as they lived it, so a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgendered receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict harm and trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal, depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful while you have to work with the next of kin. Your duty is also to ensure the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. If funeral is to honor their deceased, then do that. Honor them. I totally agree with what that just said. Wow. I didn't expect it to go that deep or talk about issues like that, but I'm glad they did, because people should hear it. I don't like the look of this, not one bit. My paycheck coming late. Sorry. But I know you've only been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom and pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyway, don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm going to grab some fast food before taking the hearse through the car wash. 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? A beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. Hey Matthew, this is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing, and I can cut you a check from my personal account if need be. I'm so sorry about this. I assure you it won't happen again. Take care, Amy Rose. My best friend Jen. Charlie, I was doing some reading. Wait, meet cutes for death positive cuties. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There is this dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried for you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we will never speak of again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day, so maybe meeting someone in the industry isn't the worst idea. Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and what got the aesthetic are super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out because turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much of a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meat, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have still like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works just yet, though. Okay, so we're best friends. Okay. Hi, Amy. Thank you for the wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Thank you, Lizzie. Passing on lovely notes. Lovely thank you note. Okay, hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died from breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. Okay, I'm on it. Wow, so we do cremation too, okay. That's the only funeral I've been to, cremation. Before we cremate Mrs. Hall, we need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process as to not damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall necklace. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's cremated. Click and drag the round identification tag and place it into the coffin. Great, Mrs. Hall is all set to be cremated now. Oh, we don't have, okay. So, okay. Oh, it's right there, okay. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies to ash so much as bone fragments. Oh, really? Using the cremulator will break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn in the cremulator. Now that all the bones have been processed, click and drag the urn back onto the counter. Okay. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back in the urn and click on the necklace and drag it. Okay. Last step, click on the urn lid and drag it on top of the urn. All done, Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and represent it alongside some flowers. This is nice in a weird way. She liked that we're all here talking. She always tried to keep the family together. The food is delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. Glad she was cremated and not in like an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling, she said so. Valentine's Day, interesting. Okay, let's start from the bottom. You've lived your life mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution, and generally help out where you can. So why not continue doing that even in death? At least, that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning to green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly is that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000, so better for the people in the environment. The environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this is still a business after all. But really, Why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and restore/preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming help protect funeral directors, while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We're here at Funeral Monthly think green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Reply and let us know. Our best friend, a challenger, approaches. Charlie, I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? It's like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like, seriously, it's really, really difficult. And that Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front desk job at the hotel for 3 years. But it must have gotten rusty. Anyways, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts. The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town next. Hi Amy, I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having trouble I should reach out and you would know somebody I could talk to about all of this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother has lived a full, good life and was very happy that she's not in any pain now, but I feel empty, Amy. I've never felt this empty before, but what am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough with work and the will and trying to just be the best mom she can. I just need somebody to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you, and I'm sorry for an inconvenience. Ryan. I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult, and family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today. Not my usual self, and it would be good for you to start building these kind of relationships on your own. Your treasure, Charlie. You're a treasure, Charlie. Amy Rose. Hi Amy, I'm so internally grateful that you were able to accommodate our request for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service, and she would have been happy with it. That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, Margarita. Charlie, I thought you'd like to see this thank you note. This is a long email. This whole game is just emails and taking care of ice. Hi all, it's with a very heavy heart that I write to let you know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources I Googled told me that would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be direct but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use our services. It was my memorial to him, the original Rose, in a lot of ways, and you've all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations, and then we can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So we've been bought, our ice sold. Either way, soon, Hillside Heritage Enterprise Inc., a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rose and Daughters Funeral Home for tax purposes, though honestly, I'm trying hard not to just see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there is anything I can do at this point either. I've signed the papers, at least my father's legacy is still intact somewhat. They have a good reputation and have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you in a more personal way. I would have loved to have a company lunch, but I didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This was easier for me. Please understand. Sincerely, Amy Rose. Hi Amy, you asked if there was any special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He has a pacemaker too. The doctor told me that wouldn't need to be removed. Hi Charlie, please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. Sounds good. I'll take care of it. Let's see, Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide any for us to include. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. Let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the 4 steps to click and drag the pacemaker out of the heart. Okay. Put the 4 steps away, then place the round identification tag in the coffin. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated now. I guess it doesn't matter. We know how cremations work now. We've done it. Yep. We know. Oh, right. Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to. Let's see about the Reyes family. Oh, those people are close. Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? No. We talked a few times, but no, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn. That's just it, stubborn. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere. Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not.